Hi, welcome to another episode of Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup. I'm Nicole Walters, Director of Bespoke Architects, and I'm about to show you what inspiring images made our Pinterest boards today. Today there was quite a lot of brass, quite a lot of great detailing in residential projects, some really interesting skylights. So let's start with the interesting skylights. This is actually a commercial project that has a trafficable roof. So we're looking at the top of the roof here, and these are the skylights emerging from that. I really like the shape and the texture that they've applied to these skylights. It's just something a bit different to what we would normally see. And again, the shape of the skylight being that disc shape is quite lovely. So this here is the inside of one of those skylights, and we can see that they've referenced the disc shape with their really interesting light fittings. And then the actual shaft to the skylight itself is just a really nice smooth plaster leading up to that disc. This is another room within that same commercial complex, and we can see that they've referenced the disc again, but this time in more of a suspended tile. So that was just a really nice and interesting sort of skylight. Another project that used the disc skylight was the South Coogee house. We can see one here on the top level of a stairwell. And we can see that they've used this really smooth edge into the plaster shaft, not a sharp edge like this one here. They've also used a brass trim in the bathroom skylight, which I found really, really interesting and really nice. They used a lot of brass throughout this project. We can see it here on the end of the wall dividing the vanity to the shower. They also used it on the top of the balustrade to the staircase. Here is the wider shot of it here. So they've got a solid balustrade, a solid timber stair, and then they've used this beautiful brass band up the top of that. Here is a detail at the upper level where the balustrade meets a balustrade on the floor. So the curve of the stair meeting the flat of the floor, and that beautiful brass detailing between the two surfaces. They've used the same brass and then a little disc finger pull here for some robe doors. We can see they're mirrored, and these are a vertical two doors meeting in the middle, and these are two vertical pulls with a finger pull in them. I thought that was a beautiful door furniture detail. And then here they've used an alternate one where you sort of grab behind, but again, it's the same brass and it is a mirror reference. So it's a really consistent design with a little bit of difference. Here is their kitchen. We can see no brass elements in here, but very, very simple in its design. It's got one circular window, a range hood. There are no overheads that we can see here. But then this really beautiful sort of timber island bench, and then the beautiful curved range hood. And here is their front door. They've got a disc wall light, a disc door handle, and a disc window. So the circle features strongly in that project. Might just scoot back up to the top of the board here for the gallery of the concrete and the stone. What I found most fascinating about this is obviously a sloping site building with an amazing view, and they've chosen to park their car on the top level where I might have put a living zone and parked the car lower down, but obviously this is street level and they've decided to come in at street level with that car parking. I really did enjoy the fact that they've used a timber screen onto that carport rather than rather than a solid material. So I did like that. I find it fascinating though that you would give your car the best view. Moving on, the Perfect Storm was just a divine little project. It is very masculine in the way that it's been detailed, but very refined. I think a refined masculinity, perhaps not your industrial. It's still heavy, but it's got a refinement to it. Like, for example, the end of the kitchen bench here references a Renaissance style fluted column. It's just stunning, and the thinness of that kitchen bench top is just beautiful. As to the pendant light that is suspended from that concrete mezzanine above and just dangles down over that end of that fluted end of that island bench is beautiful. Here we've got the long shot down. We can see the stairs going up beside the kitchen, and then the solidness of that balustrading with the timber stair and the timber infill underneath. We do have a detailed shot of that image here, where we can see that's the end of the stair balustrade and the start of the timber that wraps into the kitchen. And then this really fine sort of joinery element that is sort of connected to the wall, but it's really fine, making the heaviness of that mezzanine more accentuated. They've used the same timber and the beautiful curve up here in the bedroom, and we can see that that is a full storage unit behind that bed, and I'm really liking that. They've also used the sort of the heavier concrete here in this floating bench, and then they've lifted it to the lighter sort of suspended shelving above. So it's a real mix of heavy and light in this project. And again, even the shower screen, it sort of has that heavy dark line around the edge. It goes floor to ceiling, but then the shower door itself actually is shorter with a curve on it. So I'm really enjoying the way that that all works. So that was a great little project there. And also we touched on the suspended light fitting here, but then they've mixed it up with some downlights above the actual kitchen workspace, and then some feature wall lights, presumably to the front door. It's just a really beautiful, simple, heavy and well thought out design. The Northcote residence was a residence that was a timber heavy addition. We see its kitchen here, so we can tell that the ceiling lining turns into the wall lining is again used in the joinery. So it's a lot of timber, but it's really beautiful. It works well with this recycled brick that we can see in this image here. And again, the handmade tile is really nice as well. This is their bathroom, and we can see that their shower and vanity are divided by a really lightweight shower screen, which is sort of the opposite detail to that shower screen there. And just their use of the handmade tile again, and then the trend toward the terrazzo style floor is really nice, and the organic brass tapware is also very on trend at the moment. I really liked this study nook that they've created within an external wall. They have some beautiful lighting around that. We can also see the well thought through heating and cooling vent here. In that ceiling, it's a slotted timber solution, so that was really beautiful. And we can see another shot of it here and a bit more of that wall light that they've got going on. And then their choice of furniture is, it contrasts, but it's complementary, and it's relying on this floor rug with that same color scheme to tie that sort of space all together, and it just looks really, really beautiful. An interesting way to store their books, they're lying them down and showing us the end, so we get a consistent pattern of just page colors rather than multicolored spines and that kind of thing. So a nice way to style books. The door hardware in this project is lovely. It's quite a soft and smooth looking door handle while still being of some substance. Again, the timber cladding, we can see it in the soffit lining, we can see it on the floor, and we can see it on the door here. That was just really nice. And then the wider shot showing us that ceiling, but that one I actually pinned for the round dining table. I picked a couple of round dining tables today. I was into round today, so anything round made the board. It was pretty appealing to me today. So that's the end of that project. The next project is the Longwood apartment. This was the image that caught my eye. I really like the texture that they've gone for in this island, in this kitchen bench rather, with its matching splashback. It's got that strong pomegranate kind of color to it, which they've referenced in the overheads. Here is another shot of that same kitchen here, and we can see that the material wraps down the bench front, across, and then up. So the proportions of that is really nice. The one thing I'm not such a fan of is the choice to go with the stainless steel undermount sink and then the brass tap. I would have done it all brass or all stainless. But I really do like the detailing, the way that the bench sits slightly short of that undermount sink. So we do have a sort of a silver lip rather than the other way where there's an overhang of the bench top into the sink. It's sort of recessed, so it should make cleaning easier. Really liked that. Here's the long shot of that kitchen. So we can see it's quite a functional galley style kitchen with a full height on one side, which has the wall oven, assumably an integrated fridge and pantry. We can see again the integrated heating and cooling grill up there in the bulkhead, and this side has got your sink zone, your cooking zone, and your prep area. So that was just a really nice kitchen, and I quite liked the downlights that they'd gone for, that sort of extruded paired up sort of light. That was really interesting. Whether that's a great task light, I can't say. Whether they've got under bench lighting, you'd hope they did, because it is quite a dark kitchen with that material. And while it does look partially reflective, it will be sucking a bit of light out of that space as well. Here we can see they've created sort of like this little sit down area to put your shoes on. We can assume the hinges to the left are for a front door, and then this is where you get your shoes on and off every day while exiting and entering. And it's just got this really nice sort of leather padding in it as well, which again is working with that burgundy or pomegranate rather color palette. So I really liked that as a design solution. And then their bathroom, what struck me here was their use of tiles. So we see the mosaic wall tile is also the floor tile, is also the ceiling tile. It's not the first time this week we've seen tiled ceilings, but I really like the way that works. And again, I'm always a fan of the shelf above the vanity and the cistern toilet, and then obviously the storage is up in the shaving cabinet above. So just a really nice bathroom solution, but definitely pinned for that use of mosaic tile. The next project we have is the O'Grady. That had another one that uses skylights. We're obviously up in the roof space that they've turned into a bedroom, and they've sort of got the more traditional operable Velux style roof light and then a dormer window as well. So that was really interesting. I really like the lighting solutions in this bedroom. That's why that particular pin made our board today. The bathroom was quite interesting. The choice to hang a mousseline cloth behind the bath, so there is a chance that that is going to get wet while you're using the bath, and I'm not sure whether that's to screen this mirror that we can see here so that you're not looking at yourself in the bathtub. I'm not entirely sure, but then it's obviously got a shower in there with the bath. We can see that in the mirror, and a toilet behind. But yeah, it was just the muslin cloth behind the bath that caught my eye. So that is up on the board today under bathroom. From that same project, this particular door here, we can see into the bedroom. It's certainly not the original door. That would be a 4-panel sort of door we would have expected to see. Instead, they've gone for this like a shiplap style door. And then their choice of door furniture in this project, I'm not sure if I grabbed, you'll see it in the kitchen. They do a lot of leather handles in here, which is really nice. So that was a really nice door. I felt contrasting with the full sort of traditional mantle that they've gone for. They've kept the picture rail and the traditional sort of cornice, and then done a really sort of different style of door, but the color palette ties it together nicely. Another project, the O'Grady project, again, another one that uses the circular dining table, which I'm a big fan of, and I love this light fitting. I just think that's a beautiful, and the chairs itself, that's just a beautiful dining room setting. From that same house here, we can see the kitchen is quite small, but I really liked the layout of it. I pinned it a couple of times so we can see it looking down the kitchen. We've got the sink on one side, cooking on the other, and then assumably pantry or fridge at the end. We can see it here. They're actually using a mirror on the end. So we've got a little bit of a seating area, suspended bench, and then when the solid panel comes down from that kitchen, they've actually put a mirror on it, which sort of makes the space feel lighter and bigger. So I really like that. Again, the shiplap sort of that we saw in the door is played up again in the kitchen, and again in their lounge room end here. And we can see here on this one the leather handles that I was talking about, and then your Musho dots. So big day of circles for me today. The window seat, though, is what caught my eye on this project. That's really a nice way to use that living room. So we've got a smaller space. Assumably that is a television above these overhead cupboard doors here. Done some interesting things with windows. We're carrying through that green coloured shiplapping in there. We've got the white shiplapping in there. And then this just adds another seating area. So it does free up that area if they were to put in, they wanted to rearrange their furniture. They've got a couch, they've got 2 chairs, and then there's a chance for more people to sit over on the window seat. And here is an external view of that window seat, and we can see the little window underneath. And then that overhead joinery actually projects out, which is a really interesting detail. So it was quite a cute little project. And then externally, I did really enjoy the solid black fence and then this peach door onto the street with the little window overhead. That was just really, really nice. It was a nicely detailed project. So it made various portions of our boards today for various reasons. The Gallery of Three Angel House, that has, or Three Angle House rather, Really liked the stair balustrade detail here. So we can see it's a concrete wall, and then they've rebaited in a timber handrail on one side, and then the other side has got that frameless glass balustrade. So that's really nice. Here it is from the ground floor level, and we can see the timber treads are on steel, and the steel's cantilevering out from that wall, and then the balustrade is clipped onto the wall. That is quite a tricky detail for engineers to do because they have to allow for the flex and the step on that glass balustrade, but the payoff is that it looks incredible. So it's a beautiful detail. I pinned this bathroom because I really like the wall lights above the vanity. It's not a standard shape vanity, and the towel rails are also I'm going to assume a heated vertical towel rail, which is just a really nice detail. Here is their fireplace. That was really interesting, the way they've chosen to put the fireplace in a corner. We can see some wood storage underneath that, and then assumably where this painting sits is the provision for a television or something. I will make the comment that fireplaces throw out heat evenly in all directions. So, you know, if you want the optimum from that heater's performance, then it would be ideal to put it in the center of a room rather than next to a window, because you will have a lot of heat loss sort of through the glass there. But it is rather nice. We can see this kitchen here. I pinned this one for the appliances. It's Miele. We can see their induction cooktop and then their downdraft range hood beside that. So there's nothing above this particular cooking zone. It's got a free line of sight. We can see at the end of this image here, this glass door. Here it is again here, and it's the end of the kitchen, and it appears to be a small office space. So again, quite an interesting layout for that, especially for people who are now confronted with working from home, conveniently close to the kitchen, and assumably you can monitor who's in there through your glass sliding door. I also pinned this wall of joinery that I'm going to guess is off a inner passage, maybe off a master, and it was actually the LED strip lighting at the bottom that I quite liked. We often discuss with clients about the need during the night to go to the toilet and how you best light that with motion sensors and low-level lighting, so that you're not blinded and you're not waking up anyone else, but you're able to get to the toilet without having to stagger around looking for a light switch. So I thought that was a really nice way to light up a hallway for that sort of that nighttime solution. Moving along on the projects today, there was a lot of them. That same project externally, I just really liked the way it sort of cantilevers above its landscaping, and then the way they've done their garage door as an opaque sort of door is really nice. It doesn't feel heavy. It feels like quite a light solution, which is nice. The material itself is quite light, that solid paneling above, and the way they've done that sort of vertical stretcher bond is quite nice as well. So that's why that one made the board. This little blue cabin, I think it's the color that really caught my eye, and I'm always a fan of a tiny house. You know, this one's obviously towable. We can see the drawer bar there for connecting to a car. But it was the color and the end window, if I'm honest, that caught my eye and why it made the board today. The confectionery tool shop made the board for its staircase. You can see that the staircase is half and half. It's got an open mesh and a solid concrete tread. Interestingly, this person has chosen to walk up the solid rather than the open mesh, but it does make for an interesting staircase. And then up the middle of this, they actually have a wire mesh with cutters hanging off of it. So I just really like that. I mean, residentially, you could do something similar. You wouldn't necessarily have to put confectionery cutters hanging off it, but you could hang ornaments or padlocks or lights, or there's it opens up your imagination to heaps of possibilities around what you could do in the center of a stair if you wanted to. So that's why that one made the board. And it's from the external. It's got that nice Corten sort of fabric on the outside. So that were all the interesting things we found on Pinterest, on the internet today, and have put on Pinterest. If you are looking for more content like this, Bespoke Architects Daily Pinup episode 11 is also on Pinterest. I have mentioned before, due to formatting and file size, not all of our episodes do make it onto Pinterest or Instagram. If you do want to catch all of the episodes, they are all up on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining me. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all on Monday. Thanks so much. Bye.